the death of famous clarinetist Alphonse Picou, thousands turned out to parade down Claiborne Avenue and participate in one of the largest traditional jazz funerals in New Orleans history. But as the well-wishers made their way down the Oak Line Boulevard, a plan was in the works that would change life in the neighborhoods around Claiborne Avenue forever. This is New Orleans Claiborne Expressway. When it was built, it cut through historic neighborhoods like Faubourg Tremé, widely considered the United States' oldest African-American community. New Orleans culture represents a rich fusion of African, European, and Caribbean influences, a tapestry woven out of the city streets and public spaces.
As much lip service as we give to our music and to our second line traditions, what is almost always left out of the discussion is the extent to which our architecture and urban grid supports that culture in a way that suburban life cannot possibly support it.
With its wide oak line neutral ground, Claiborne Avenue served as the heart of neighborhoods like Tremé and the 7th Ward. It also developed into a business district for African Americans who were not permitted to shop at white stores. St. Bernard Circle bustled with activity around the Circle Food Store, a grocery in a historic building that once housed a public market.
This is the American dream of freedom on wheels.
Controversial urban planner Robert Moses proposed the first interstate design through New Orleans. In addition to the Claiborne Expressway, it called for an above-grade highway along the French Quarter's riverfront that was never built, thanks to members of the community.
It was thought by the proponents that if you built those highways downtown, it would result in an increase in retail sales, bring people downtown, when in reality it was an accelerated exodus to the suburbs. And your downtown became parking lots and strings of concrete.
The historic oaks were cut or uprooted, and 500 homes, businesses, and other buildings were demolished.
We were basically told it's just about a done deal. Most of the people that I knew felt just that.
It was just a cold, calculated business decision, and not taking into consideration the people that you were afflicting this with.
Certainly the destruction of a black neighborhood would not have been seen as a problem for the politicians of New Orleans.
The tissue started to die, and the neighborhood started to drift a little bit, and the area started to just kind of close in on itself.
You lost families, you lost friends, you lost relatives, you lost because people got displaced. The first thing I would be concerned about is how we preserve the people who have fought, bled, and died and stayed through all of the pollution that bridge has created, all of the discomfort that it has created.
You can't recreate what was lost, but you can do something different. You could do commercial corridor that is respectful of the neighborhood, that is actually useful to the neighborhood.
They get first right of refusal for land. They get to redo shops and stores. They have ownership in the community. That's the right way to do it.
Once you're liberated from car dependency, you have options that you don't have when you're car dependent.
Wagner and Ball Architects in New Orleans prepared a preliminary design exploring elements of a redeveloped boulevard, including green space, a canal to serve as part of an improved floodwater drainage system, light rail, and spaces for new homes and businesses.
People who drew the original maps of New Orleans and secondary and tertiary maps all the way into the 20th century were really good from what I could see. They're beautiful. They created these interesting public spaces, and they put the circles where the circles could be. We basically, in maybe a conservative mode, said, well, this was here. It still works to have a transportation circle here. You know, the design aspect is nascent. It's really not so developed. It's just a beginning design effort, and it could get a lot more interesting.
Though further study is needed, current traffic volumes suggest that surface-level streets can absorb local traffic, and the 610 bypass to the north could continue to serve as the alternate route for through traffic.
If there's one street that's shut down because of an accident or what have you, there are other ways to get around it, and that can lead to less congestion and improvement of quality of life by itself.
As soon as an expressway comes down, investment returns. Automatic.
People passing by and stopping, going into their stores, as opposed to now we go over that entire neighborhood.
Walking, biking, it should have access to other forms of transportation.
A number of projects are currently underway in the neighborhoods adjacent to the Claiborne corridor, which represent over $3.5 billion in investment. These include a medical complex, greenway, and affordable housing sites. In 2010, New Orleans secured $2 million in federal funding to study transportation options along the inter-parish Claiborne corridor.
The combined grant that the City of New Orleans got from HUD and DOT, the Tiger Challenge Grant, is allowing us to actually study what the impacts of removing the freeway would be, introducing new transportation options like a regional transit line versus maintaining it.
It has to be for the people who already were here and who are going to stay here and continue to grow this community.
If we do it properly, we can maintain our cultural advantage, the uniqueness that's New Orleans.